Invest in daughters, sisters, and wives. They're gonna change our lives. In women, in girls. They'll make a better world. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. And now here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors. And as you know, on our show, every week we feature amazing female founders and funders. And today I'm super excited. We have on the founder of a fund in Mexico. It's called Amplifica Capital. Please welcome to the show, Anna Raptis. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here today.
Oh my gosh, so happy to have you here. We have on a lot of women that are looking for funding. It's always nice to have more women that are actually helping women get funded. So thrilled to talk to you about how you started this fund. I'm always amazed at women that start their own funds and how you did that in, of all places, Mexico, because you're not even originally from Mexico, right?
Yeah, that's right. I am Australian, Greek, Mexican. I feel very much Mexican now because I have the opportunity to live in this beautiful country and I have a Mexican husband and 2 Mexican daughters.
Beautiful. So originally you were born in Australia, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
I grew up in Australia.
And then from there, tell us a little bit about your journey so we get to know you before we talk about this amazing fund.
So I originally grew up in Australia. I was always very fascinated by economic development, and I studied economics and was one of those like nerds. I'd sit in the library and read the World Bank Development Report. So that led me to go and work at the UN in Bangkok, and I did my master's degree at Johns Hopkins University, studied in their campus in Italy and also in the US. And then from the US, I moved to Mexico to work originally in the energy sector because I was working for a company that saw clean energy as being, something that really drives economic development. So I've always looked to, align my work with my values and helping facilitate economic development.
I love that. It's so nice when those are aligned, right? Yeah, it brings so much more satisfaction and purpose to our life. And, so let's talk about this. So for 2 decades, you were investing in healthcare and tech and women's equality, gender equality, right?
No, yeah. So I was very fortunate to grow up in Australia where people talk a lot about investing. It's part of the culture. Australians per capita are one of the biggest gambling societies, but also love to invest. And so I think that was fortunate in my upbringing because I heard people talking about investing. And so as soon as I had some savings, I started doing that myself. And as I kind of developed as an investor, and I was, really lucky to be able to study in the US, I started my own, little stock account, and I went experimenting and learning and having success and making mistakes and learning more about, what areas that I like to invest in. How to do better as an investor. And that journey, it gave me confidence, it gave me experience where, I felt that I could and feel I can make, very good investment decisions for myself and with other people's money as well.
I love that. That's really interesting. I'm glad you shared that with us about the culture of Australia actually being one that encourages people to talk about investing. I don't think we're as good about that in the US. I think it should start in the schools, teaching children and, even in grade school, but definitely in high school. And then, and with a focus on the fact that women really don't talk about investing and don't have quite the leg up, I think, that men do when it comes to, talking to their cronies about investing. And we have to change that. And I know that's a conversation you and I have had about how we need more women investors. Like, that's what's going to level the playing field. It was, I think Melinda Gates had said, at this pace, it's going to take us 200 years, right? To get to where we need to be. I read that in your article when you were featured in The Conscious Investor. And yeah, what are we going to do, ladies? It is up to us. A lot of people say, well, don't you want men to invest in you? Well, of course we do, but how's that been working for us? So women need to start investing in women. And that's why people like yourself are creating these funds. But let's talk about that. Like, what is it going to take to get more women to invest, and especially invest in other women?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's an excellent point, and then one we've discussed before. Look, what I see is there is enormous systemic bias against women in finance, but we have the power to change that and shape a different future and create a different narrative, and that's what I'm very motivated to do. Women, for many reasons, have traditionally delegated their financial decision making to men. And that's something that we want to change. We need to change that. We spent the 20th century working for our right to vote. Women couldn't vote before. In a lot of countries in the 20th century, they couldn't vote. We can now
get a credit card, or right to get a mortgage. Right.
That's exactly right. And so we've got our political right to vote. Now we need to exercising our economic power, because this is where we can really drive change. And this is why I believe we need to have more women in investment decision-making positions. And we need women asking questions rather than, I can understand that, we don't all have a lot of experience investing, but asking those questions, talking to your financial advisor, communicating what your values are and how you want your money invested. I was just on a phone call with someone else, and he described himself as a financial activist, and we can all choose to be that if we want. Invest in things that are aligned with our values. So if we want to see more women CEOs, or more women on boards, well, it's important for us as women to invest in companies that look like the companies we want to see in the world. And that doesn't mean compromising returns. The data all demonstrates, data that's come from McKinsey, from Korn Ferry, from Oliver Wyman, from IFC, has all demonstrated that women-led companies generate better returns.
Right. I mean, this is the reason to invest in us, right? And, in a men's world, they tell their cronies, oh, you need to invest in this, or oh, you need to invest in that. Women need to develop that same circle. We need to be telling women, I'm investing in this. You need to invest in this too. Did you hear about this? I say it's like the new book club, only it's better, because you can make money and help other people at the same time. And I'm so glad you mentioned you're not compromising your returns. Some women most women tend to be very conservative with their investing. And so they're in bonds, they're in stocks, they're in real estate. But there are things outside of that, like investing in startups, or investing in Series A, or investing in funds like yours that are helping women, and people are making a lot of money by doing that. So it is risky, but not if you study it and take away most of the risk. These people are, this is why they say the rich get richer. They're in this world of getting behind startup companies and companies that are scaling, and they're getting in before they go public. And that really is the secret, isn't it? To go be a part of a fund like Amplifica, or go to an angel group, but learn about how to invest in a little different way than just the typical stodgy stock market or bond market or whatever. This is something worth learning about, not only because it's profitable, not only because we need to be doing that, but it literally does help other women. Like, there's no downside to it, right? You're helping other women. What could be more gratifying than that, and making money doing it, right?
That's exactly right. And I say, it's about making money. It's about giving opportunities to other women, but it's also about including the voice and the vision of women. If we look at the world today and where's the new technologies, new products coming from, a lot of it is coming because they've started in venture capital. And in the venture capital industry, if we have, 90% of the decision makers looking the same, that means we don't have the same diverse outcomes and products and services that really cater to the needs of different people that look differently than those 90% of the decision makers.
Totally.
So if we want to have products and services that attend to the needs of women, we need to be at the decision-making table, making those investment decisions towards where that money goes.
Every week I hear different women telling me about their incredible ideas. Some of them we have here on the show. And I think these are game-changing ideas that can help save the planet. They are revolutionary. If these women don't get funding, their innovations will never see the light of day. And like you said, whether it's women, people of color, LGBTQ, that are not getting the funding. Like you're saying, more than 90% is going to just white men. Well, more than white men have really great innovations, ideas, and cures, and we're leaving it behind by not investing in them. So I really appreciate women like you that are taking the bull by the horns and starting your own fund. Tell me about that journey. Some woman's got to be out there saying, I would love to start my own fund. How did she do that? How did you get started? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, no, I would love to, because I believe really that you can't be what you can't see. And I noticed that I was here in Mexico very much alone. I didn't see other women building funds. And really what changed my perspective was I went to an Angel Capital Association conference in Boston in April of 2018 in Boston. And I met all of these amazing women. It wasn't just one or two. I met many women who were starting their own funds, and they were starting small, and they told me it was really hard. And I spent time, talking to these women and hearing their stories and what they were doing and why they were doing it. And I realized this was a call for action for me, because I saw no women doing this in Mexico. And I said, you know what, Anna, this is something that's really important. We need to have a more inclusive, diverse ecosystem. And yes, we're starting with women, but all the other groups that you mentioned, aren't included either. So, so that was the way I started, by meeting other women, talking to them, hearing their story. How do they do it? Understand that it's something very hard, because when you start, when you launch your own fund, you don't have what a lot of investors want to see, and that's what a track record from working in another fund. So you're really relying on other people out there who want to be change agents, who want to see a more diverse VC industry to invest in your fund and to help you get that first fund going. And once you've done the first fund and you can demonstrate a successful track record, then you build the second one, and it's a lot easier. But the first fund is the biggest challenge, and it requires you to be in a financial situation where you can sustain yourself, to work. It can be 5 years without actually generating any salary when you have a small fund. So it's not for the faint-hearted. And I definitely get inspiration every day from all the women that went before me. And I also know a lot of other emerging fund managers around the world, women, and we have like our own support network, and we support each other and share ideas and the highs and lows of building a fund, because we are entrepreneurs as well. And when you're raising a fund, you have some great days, and you have some really shitty days, so But
what's the name of that group? Some people might like to.
So we have a group that's called Transact Global, and it's for fund managers where the majority ownership of the fund is by women.
I love that. Oh my God, I didn't know about Transact. What's it called? Transact Global?
Transact Global, yeah. And it's been an amazing source of support for me. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. you shared with me that you raised $2.5 million, that you have gotten 6 investments behind, all co-founded women businesses.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yep.
That's fantastic. How did you, I want to know both ends of it. How did you find who you wanted to invest in, but also how did you find your investors? You had shared with me there's a group in Mexico called Intel Women's Forum, a group of professional women in Mexico. Is it like going out to networking groups similar to that helps you to find women to invest?
Yeah, like really, it's I spend a lot of time talking with different professional women's groups. It's also a lot about education around investing, because depending on people's risk and liquidity needs, it may be not something that's that works for everyone. So a lot of time talking with people, education. Networking, trying to meet those who have an affinity for what we're doing. Also are spending now more time in the US talking to the Mexican diaspora communities there, to who want to be connected with Mexico, who want to be somehow investing in Mexico. So that's also important for us. And in terms of the deal flow, it's been really amazing, because I hear often, we can't find women, both on the entrepreneur side, but also on the investor side. And what I find is that women attract women. And when you have, now that we have this fund, which is the first VC fund in Mexico to be really focused on women in a really with a strong gender mandate, women come looking for us. And so we get a lot of deal flow from all different ways, through Twitter, through LinkedIn, through WhatsApp, through our webpage, via email. And so, we've got amazing deal flow coming in. And we just wish that we had some more money to be able to invest in more and more all these fabulous, female entrepreneurs, because we definitely see a huge amount of opportunities.
Yeah, and if Mexico is near and dear to people's heart that are listening and they want to get into funding, they could definitely reach out and participate in Amplifica. I know you're just getting started, so
Yeah, no, and we really think it's great to have develop bridges between Mexico, other parts of Latin America, and the USA, because this really is beneficial for our entrepreneurs. Because it means that the investors in our fund can also be helpful in making those connections for other funding or providing advice as the portfolio companies grow. So we're all about creating collaboration, communities, and working together, because we see that the problems we're trying to solve are really big. And if we don't collaborate, we're never going to be able to solve them. And we can accelerate, and by working together, we can solve them much more quickly.
And I do believe that sometimes people think, oh, we only get 2%. This problem is way too big to solve, but it's not. And I was speaking in a group of women not too long ago, and I said, every single woman in here needs to invest in another woman. That's what's going to change the situation. And if they're not an accredited investor to invest in a venture capital fund, they can at least doing a minimal amount in a angel fund, or they could go on a equity crowdfunding site and at least put in $100 or $200. Like, everyone can do something towards solving this problem. We are the solution. And so more and more women like you need to start funds. More and more women need to participate in these funds and or ancillary ways of investing in women. But the word on the street has to be, every woman should be investing in another woman. Don't you think?
Oh, I'm 100% committed to that. And that's precisely why we have gone out, trying to seek women who want to participate in something like this. Over 70% of our investors are women, and there's no other funds like that in Mexico and other parts of Latin America.
That's fantastic. 70%. I love that. How can people invest? How do they find you? Give us your website. Tell us about your social.
Now, so yeah, I'm on Twitter, Anna Raptis, 01 on Twitter, also LinkedIn, also through our webpage, which is www.amplifica.capital. And so you can definitely reach out to us in any of those ways.
And I'm going to spell your name for people because some people are just listening and not watching. And it's Anna, that's with two N's, ANNA, and then Raptis, RAPTIS. And then again, it was Amplifica Capital, and that's where your website is, just to make sure they got that. I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for sharing your story. It's such an inspiration. I hope you inspire other women to start funds and also to invest in yours and other funds. But whatever they do, just to invest in another woman and do it this week. Like, don't wait, right? It's no time like the present.
No, that's fabulous, Catherine. I really appreciate your support. It's awesome and so great to collaborate with you because this is precisely what we need, abundance where we can all help each other and really move the needle, make the change we want to see in the world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anna. Everybody remember to invest in her. Remember to follow us, She Angel Investors and She Angel Invest, and make it a great week, everybody. Thanks again, Anna.
Thank you.
Our theme music was created and produced by Lindsay Tomasic.